All right, Amanda, a new episode of Being Real with Bethany is out now, and it features our former art director, Bill Ford. Bethany Bill was here for decades. Talk about the work he did, and what does it look like being an art director at a news station?
Yeah, okay, well, an art director does seem a little interesting when you think, what kind of art do we do at a TV station? Well, actually, we do a lot of art. Bill Ford is the man responsible for creating a lot of the images and the logos that you've come to associate with WSFA 12 News. Not just like the WSFA 12 News logo, but he remembered in our conversation creating the County Road 12 logo. And he talked a little bit about just how he still sees that logo, even though it has evolved a little over the years from the kind of almost cartoonish logo he created. It still resonates with him. It still kind of has a sentimental feeling when he sees those images like the County Road 12 logo that is something that he created. He was a part of building that from scratch. And there are a number of other things that he's done. When it comes to art, as far as art on TV, if you remember way back when, the early days of our sets, we didn't have these cameras like we have right here to show outside. A lot of them were pictures.
Someone had to create those images.
We had to create those. So he took those pictures and edited those pictures and created those behind the sets. Man, Bill Ford, I say all the time, he is the coolest guy I know. And it's not just because of his artistic abilities, which are pretty impressive. He's just all around cool.
He is known not just here at WSFA, but in the art community in our region, in our area.
He is. He's always had his hand in the art community because he is an artist at heart. So he is very well known outside of his work at WSFA. He sits now on the board of the Montgomery Museum of Fine Arts, and he's always been very involved with local artists and promoting local artists. And he is an artist himself. His dad actually was an artist, so he's always had his hand dabbling in the art. So really it just was a natural fit when WSFA 12 News, this was about 40 years ago or more, had an opening for an art director that it seemed like he was just an easy fit. He spent about 30 years working here. Most of those years were as the art director. But what he talked about most in our conversation is how the work he did here was special, but it's the people that made the work special, where he found really more than coworkers and colleagues. He found a real family here.
Was there something he said that surprised you or shocked you, or a story you hadn't heard before?
You know, well, let's take this for instance. We held this interview in our current break room because he was known for what I like to call holding court in the break room in our own old building. He always brought these really extravagant meals to eat. I think he loved to cook at home, and so he would bring those. But it seemed like anytime he was in the break room, that's when people tended to gravitate to the break room as well. People just wanted to be in his presence. If you spend time listening to him, you'll understand why, because he is one of those people that is just full of wisdom and full of great ideas and has this demeanor about him that's so welcoming and open to anyone and everyone's ideas that so many people just wanted to sit and chat with him. And when I brought that up to him, he seemed genuinely surprised that that was the way people viewed him, that he really had no idea that was the way people saw him, which was just another way that he was very endearing, another endearing term for me.
Very humble.
Very humble, yes.
This is marking the end of our 70th anniversary celebration for your podcast and for us here at WSFA. We've taken a lot of time looking back at pillars here at our station, in our community. How's it been for you sitting down with some of these folks?
Oh man, this has been such a cool experience. It really has. This is the TV station I grew up watching, so I have a lot of my own memories and sentiments related to WSFA 12 News. It's been so cool to hear some of the behind the scenes stories from people who work here and from people that I admired growing up, people I did get a chance to work with, but some that I didn't necessarily get a chance to work with, who already came and left left before I was able to work with them in the newsroom. So it's been really cool to hear not just about the stories they covered, but the way we approached them in those early eras of WSFA 12 News. And just to walk back through history, we do still have several episodes left. I think we have 5 episodes after this one that we're going to drop. It'll be all the way through the end of the year. We talked with people like Roger Thomas, who used to run this studio right here. He was in charge of the people who were behind the cameras. We don't have people behind the cameras anymore, by the way, but there was a time when we had a whole studio full of crew members that ran cameras and teleprompters, and Roger was in charge of all of that. We talked with the people behind Young World, which was a just beloved children's show. I can't wait for you to hear that episode, because that was really fun. That was a fun walk back in time. And then some other people you may recognize, names like Tanya Terry, who's also coming along. So yeah, this has been a really fun season to walk back through the pieces of history of WSFA 12 News.
Bill Ford, it's hard to believe that we had an art director at one time. And for those who are currently in news or getting into news, that may be a foreign concept, but it was much needed, and his work still lives on right here at WSFA.
Yes, absolutely. He made an incredible impact that we are still seeing that impact on a regular basis.
All right, Bethany, remind people how they can listen to this.
So you can listen anywhere you get your podcast. In fact, I've just on my social media posted a link to Apple and Spotify if you'd like to listen to the whole conversation. We also have video versions. We kind of edit those down to about 30 minutes, but you can find those on WSFA.com and on WSFA's YouTube page.
A few more episodes. You said 5?
I think we got 5 left. It'll take us all the way to the very end of the year.
Very end of the year. As we get ready to mark the end of our 70th anniversary celebration, we've enjoyed meeting with folks, looking back on our many years of history here in this community.
Yeah, this has been fun.
All right, Bethany, we appreciate